Did you just get your SAT or your ACT test score back and it's not as high as you would have hoped? Well, this video is for you. My name is Christina of Ivy Lounge Test Prep. For the last 15 years, I've helped high schoolers all around the globe dramatically raise their SAT and ACT test scores and ultimately land spots at their dream colleges. So, what we are going to discuss today is how to survive a low test score and do better next time. So first, we're going to discuss why you may have gotten a bad score in the first place. Then we are going to talk about big picture, how to get a higher score on your second or third or fourth attempt at the SAT or ACT. Then we're going to talk your night and morning routine for the next test attempt that you take. And then finally, we're going to talk about some strategies you can do during the test itself to increase your score. Ready to get started? Because I know I am. So I get it. You may have known something was wrong on test day. Maybe you slept horribly the night before, or you barely made it to your testing seat before the proctor said time. And maybe when you opened the page or first looked at your screen for like the first question, you're like, oh my gosh, I've never seen anything like this in my life, right? So if that's the case, the next couple or a few hours predictably might have felt like a nightmare. So maybe you weren't like totally shocked when you saw less than optimal scores when they came back, but by golly, like you didn't expect them to be like that low, right? So you're not alone if you have experienced this. So a lot of my clients, before they come to me, might have a horror story or two about like their first attempt at the SAT or ACT. And they're talented students just like you, ones who have hit the books hard and you've studied and you've practiced, and then you get this nasty test score and it just destroys your sense of self and your confidence, and it kind of feels out of nowhere. That said, I'm here to reassure you. So again, I've helped hundreds of students all around the globe dramatically raise their SAT and ACT test scores over the last decade and a half. And I know a thing or two about getting a low score, and I know that it does not ultimately ruin your life or ruin your chance at getting into your top choice college. So just take a deep breath right now. I'll do it with you. And remember that a number does not equal who you are as a person or as a college applicant. Think instead like this. That low score that you might have just gotten, it shows that something's slightly out of alignment at this particular moment. And it may be that there's some material you've never learned before. It may be that you have learned a bunch of material, but your nerves got in the way and defeated you. So first, don't give too much importance to your very first SAT or ACT, because most students perform a lot better on the second, third, fourth attempt, like when they take the test again. And it's very, very rare that a student will knock it out of the park the very first try. So no matter how low of score you just got, don't worry, because we can seriously improve that. So let's first start with big picture, how to get a higher SAT or ACT score the next time you take it. So we have a few things here. The first is you're going to schedule a second test date of your test of choice. As you might know, if you're taking the digital SAT, we have testing dates in March, we have them in May, we have them in June, then we have them in August. Now we have them in September, October, November, and December. So as of 2025, we have 8 test sittings for the digital SAT. Now for the ACT, we have a February test, an April test, a June test, a July test if you're not in New York State, and then we have September, October, and December. So that's 7 test sittings. So you're going to pick another test sitting and register for it. So that is your step 1. Ideally, you would give yourself about 4 weeks at least between now and that next test date, because number 2, we need to make a study plan for this next upcoming SAT or ACT. So now that we have like a date to work towards, then it's time to create a study plan so that you can get the score that you actually want to get, right? So first off, we need to see what specific content you need to study. So maybe you're able in your College Board account to log in and you can see that, oh, my geometry and trig was way lower than my problem solving and data analysis, etc. Like it's not going to give you too much information, but it can give you some. So that is going to be like one clue. With the ACT, you can still get some information with your score report. And sometimes if you get the test information release, if it's one of those test dates and you actually get a copy of your test that you took and which questions you answered and which ones are right and which ones are wrong, then that can help you kind of create the study plan. So what you're going to do is every day you're going to study. You're not going to study for like massive hours of time, but honestly, half an hour, even 15 minutes if you're really rushed for time. But it's more important that you're consistent with the everyday than that you spend a load of time when you do study. I would also choose different topics for each day of the week. So in other words, like if you're going to spend half an hour or an hour studying on a Tuesday, maybe you're doing math that day. You're not going to do like some math, some reading, some grammar, some science, right? That would be too much. So like split up the sections and do like grammar on Tuesday and Saturdays, or math on Wednesday and Fridays, or something along those lines. And you are also going to plan to take several practice tests. Okay, so the third big picture thing that you are going to schedule in before you take your next SAT or ACT is, remember how I said you're going to take practice tests? Yes, I said tests with an S, as in, plural, like more than one practice test. And I really encourage you, if it's at all possible, and this is tricky given the new format of the ACT and that we only have like 4 official practice tests available right now. And, with the digital SAT, we have 7 official Blue Book College Board practice tests right now, and that's not a ton. But between those, maybe some others that a test prep company makes, you should be looking at doing approximately 4 timed practice tests in the 4 to 6 weeks leading up to your next scheduled test date. Now, maybe you're not able to do that many because, again, new format of the ACT, we don't have that many tests. Okay, maybe you do some old ACTs and sprinkle in one new one. So you get that new format in there. Or maybe you simply do 3 tests in the 4 weeks leading up to the test, or at minimum, 2 practice tests in the 3 weeks leading up to your test date. Why am I advocating for you to take so many practice tests? So there's several reasons. So first of all, it helps you get comfortable with the idea of taking a test. So you know why many students don't really do well the very first time they sit for their real SAT or ACT? It's performance anxiety. It's like you might have done some practice, but it's different when you're doing it timed. Other people are around, people are tapping their pencils, there's a proctor. It feels different. And so that very first time, you probably pile way too much fear, hope, and energy into the idea of taking a test. But when you do practice tests and you do them over and over again, then you reprogram how you feel about test taking. It becomes less of a thing that gets you nervous and more of a thing that becomes rote and habit. Also, it helps you master the art of timing. So pacing yourself is super important for both the SAT and the ACT, okay? And on the ACT, you have some sections like reading and science that most students, even with the new format, which is more generous with timing, still struggle with. On the SAT, a lot of people struggle with those harder module 2s when they get them in the reading, writing, or in the math. So you're going to want to do time practice tests to really figure out your timing and your pacing. So finally, taking all these practice tests will help you feel comfortable with the language and the format of the test itself. So there's certain kinks and quirks about the SAT and about the ACT and ways that a test might ask a question. And you're like, huh? But when you've done it many times, you're like, oh, I get it. When they word it that way, they want me to do polynomial long division. That's what they're asking, right? You'll start to figure out those quirks. So next we're going to discuss what to actually do the night and the morning routine before your scheduled second or third or fourth SAT or ACT. But before we do, I have a quick question for you. And that is, did you just get a score back on either the SAT or the ACT? And was it what you expected or was it much lower? So just let me know in the comments below. I want to see where you're at. And while you're at it, just go ahead and hit those like and subscribe buttons. And then that way, every week when I post the latest in SAT or ACT or college application tip, tricks, updates, and hacks, you'll be the very first to know. So now let's talk about your routine and the 24 hours before you take this test. So the first thing is get a good night's sleep. And I feel like I have been talking about this in all of my recent videos having to do with like overcoming test anxiety and mental mastery, but it's because it's actually really important. Sleep really does impact your cognitive sharpness the next day. And also, so few students actually take this advice that you're like way ahead of the curve if you actually get 7 or 8 hours of sleep. Now, the reason why a lot of my students are like reluctant to actually sleep the night before the test is they're like, what if I can just cram a few more minutes or study this a few more times or do a few more practice questions? And here's the thing. The night before you take the SAT or the ACT, you know what you know, and you're not really going to learn anything new. So cramming at that point just is not going to help. In fact, it will backfire. But the thing that does not backfire is when you give yourself enough rest so that you can be very alert on test day and you have a sense of clarity. And then that way, all the knowledge that you have been absorbing over the past several weeks can come through and you can shine. So now you've gotten your good night's sleep, and now it is the morning of the test, and you're going to eat a nice, wholesome breakfast the morning of. And it's like, yeah, I understand I'm supposed to eat breakfast, but like, no, really, your brain needs calories, right? So when you're taking a standardized test, you're taking not just a mental marathon, but it's a physical marathon. You're having to like sit there for a few hours at a time between, walking in, sitting down, filling out all of your information, actually taking the test, etc. And you cannot run these two marathons on 0 calories. So we like carbs for the brain, we like protein for the body, so maybe get some of both and some healthy fats in there too. Also, regarding food, bring some snacks with you, like even an apple or a granola bar or something, because then that way, during your break, if you're starting to get hungry, you have something to pep you up. Let's talk about what to wear on test day to the SAT or the ACT. When you're taking a standardized test, I feel like I shouldn't have to tell you this, but I'm going to anyways, but it's not a fashion show, right? You don't have to impress anybody there except yourself. So like, you don't have to try to look cute. No one's looking at you anyway. They're taking their test and focused on their test, right? So what you want to do is dress for comfort. If that means that you show up in sweats and your hair pulled back in a ponytail and not a stitch of makeup on, great. If that's how you feel comfortable, so be it. If you want to wear something different, but you feel comfortable and that's what makes you feel your most grounded self, then that's what you wear. But you don't want to do stuff like wear high heels or like really tight shoes or tight jeans or just anything that's going to make your physical body be uncomfortable. Because the moment you start thinking about your physical comfort instead of the question at hand, you've already lost. Okay. So do bring layers, okay? Because we don't know at your testing center how hot or cold it's going to be. If they've cranked up the heat, don't have heat, and it's a blizzard outside, or if they're cranking up the AC and, you're really freezing. So you want to have some options, again, because we don't want to be thinking about our physical comfort consciously. We want to be thinking about systems of linear equations consciously. And finally, as far as just tips the morning of, please arrive to your test center early. Like whatever your registration ticket says, usually that's around 8 a.m. you're supposed to show up. Make sure you're there early. You do not want those doors to close on you, and you don't want to be frazzled by only making it with seconds to spare. So do yourself a favor and get to the test center early. So now that we've talked about the big picture of what you're going to do to get a better score the next time you take the SAT or ACT. Now that we've discussed your 24 hours before the test routine, now let's talk about testing hacks to improve your SAT or ACT score while you're actually sitting to take the test. So first, stay positive during the exam. If you start to hear yourself say negative things like, oh my gosh, why am I doing this? There's no hope. I don't know this. Nip it in the bud. And I highly recommend maybe you have a go-to simple positive mantra instead, like, I've studied, I'm ready. Just something simple like that to nip the negativity in the bud. The next thing to do while you're actually taking the test to get a higher score is you want to make sure you're pacing yourself. Now, You should have practice doing this because you will have taken multiple practice tests leading up to test day. But you should have an idea of how much time you have left in whatever section or module you're in. Now, if you're taking the digital SAT, you're going to have a countdown timer. Now, don't be obsessed looking at it, but I would make sure you check in with it every few minutes just to see where you're at. Okay. If you're taking like the paper pencil version of the ACT, make sure you can see the clock in the room where you're taking it, or that you have a watch with you so that you can just see how much time you have left. Again, we don't have to obsess about the clock, but we need to just not totally be in la la land and be like, what? I have only 1 minute and I've got 10 questions left. You don't want that to be you. The next tip, always look at all the answer choices. So you might think that like answer B is absolutely the answer until you read answer C or D and it's even more complete and more nuanced and more correct. Okay. So if you know something is wrong, either cross it out if you're doing the test paper and pencil, or if it's on your laptop on a screen, you can eliminate choices. So eliminate or cross out. So that way, if you're stuck between a couple, you can be laser focused and decide between the final couple that you have. Now, should you skip an SAT or an ACT test question if you get stuck on it? And the answer is yes, you should. So sometimes a question seems like so out of left field or unfamiliar, and you have to keep going because that one question is not worth it, but getting the other 20 are. If that's the case, you're going to temporarily skip it. You could flag it. If you have time, you come back to it and you try it again. Now, what happens if you try it again and you still don't know, or you just don't have enough time to finish the questions in a section? So at this point, you're going to guess on the questions that you just don't know or just don't have time for. I have another video about how to guess on the SAT or ACT to improve your score the most, and I will link to that in the show notes. But make sure that you have something answered for every test question. Another tip, be decisive. If you are stuck between two answer choices and you keep like going back and changing it from like A to D to A to D, stop it. What you're going to do is, what was the one that you initially gravitated to first? Pick that one. Usually your gut tends to be right. And maybe it's not, but at least you're more likely to get it right if you follow your gut instead of changing back and forth between two different answers. And the final thing I have to tell you for during the actual test itself is, if you have time left over at the end of a section or at the end of a module, please double check your answers. And that might mean you retry some problems. That might mean you go to some that you remember were tricky and just look at them again. That might mean that if you have like 15 minutes left over in Math Module 1, that you go back and you literally rework the questions just to make sure you didn't make a careless error. Trust me, you will thank me later. So those, my friends, are all the ways to raise your test score from the crappy SAT or ACT score that you just received to do way better next time you take the test. You may have done poorly on your first SAT or ACT, but guess what? That is yesterday's news. So with these strategies that we just talked about today, you will do a lot better on your next exam. After all, you're continuously learning and growing and trying new things, but the test stays the same. So if you found it comforting to have strategies like this in your back pocket for the morning of test day or test day itself, how great would it be to have like dozens more tips and tricks like this that can help you raise your score and your confidence even more? So I actually have this really cool resource, and it is called Unlock SAT and ACT Testing Confidence. So it's a totally digital, totally self-directed video and PDF course that helps you slay the demons of test anxiety and do better next time on your SAT or ACT. So check it out in the link below.